The Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Blockchain Super Conference is coming to Dallas, Texas, February 16, 17, and 18 in 2018. If you know of a better way to get the latest insider knowledge about crypto, to hear directly from the top minds in this field, to interact personally with 800 fellow crypto lovers, hodlers, investors, miners, traders, developers, and founders, then I'd like to hear about it. If you don't, then you don't want to miss out. Register today for the Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Blockchain Super Conference. Go to bitcoinsuperconference.com and register today as a super early bird to get the lowest rates on tickets and hotel rooms. That's bitcoinsuperconference.com.
Welcome to Almost Here, Round the Corner Future Technology Podcast with Richard Jacobs. Future technologies poised to transform our lives for better or worse are the focus of this podcast. Almost Here means these technologies are now here and starting to be used, or just around the corner, from Bitcoin to artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.
Hi, this is Richard Jacobs with Future Tech Podcast. My guest is Guillermo Torrealba, the CEO and founder of Sur BTC, SurBTC. Guillermo, how are you doing?
Hi, Richard. I'm very good. Thank you very much for the invite.
Yeah, hopefully I pronounced your name okay. I tried.
It was good enough. All
right, so tell me about Sur BTC. What do you guys do there?
So Sur BTC, it's a cryptocurrency exchange based in Chile, and we also have operations in Colombia and Peru. We're a pretty regular exchange in terms of the concept of exchange. We provide this platform where people where demand and offer meets, and so people can buy and sell. And we're building infrastructure so entrepreneurs and companies can connect to our API and develop their own cryptocurrency-based services, but without the need of actually having to deal with the buy, sell, transfer, or having the Bitcoins or the Ethers.
Do you guys have a fiat-gateway, or are you just only crypto to crypto trading?
No, we're a fiat-gateway. That's right. We're trying to make these.
Okay. So you do have a fiat-gateway. That's good. That's excellent.
Yes.
You operate in a place where you've got different countries that have, some have banned it. I guess Bolivia and some other countries in South America, and Venezuela is unfortunately a mess, but other countries that are welcoming it. Tell me what it's like to be in South America and have these different countries around you that have different positions on crypto.
Sure. Yeah. The landscape it's pretty wide. I would say you can look at the problem in terms of regulation, where Chile it's in one extreme in terms of freedom of action. Chile is a pretty liberal country in terms of regulation, and in the other extreme you have places like Bolivia or Brazil. Bolivia it's because Bolivia is very restricted. Actually, Bitcoin it's kind of banned. Brazil it's also very restrictive in terms of regulation, but it's not banned. Then you can see the landscape in terms of adoption. And in terms of adoption, then Chile, I would say, it's the third country where Bitcoin is most developed. After Argentina, and first would come, I would say, Brazil. I'm not considering Mexico, right? I'm just considering South America. And after Chile, I would say Colombia comes. Then will be Peru. And there are several countries where Bitcoin is not popular yet, that like Uruguay or Paraguay. Actually, in Ecuador, it's also banned. It's kind of illegal to have an operation like an exchange. And then you have Venezuela, which is a super special case where adoption is very high, but because it's in this super political mess. So you have the whole range. It's an interesting place to be. It's a very difficult place to be in terms of regulation and in terms of how much South American countries like to control everything and do it very badly. That's why we're poor as countries, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Okay. So how long have you been operating the exchange, and what prompted you to start the exchange?
So we launched in Chile beginning of 2015, mid 2016 in Colombia, and mid 2017 in Peru. And when I first heard of Bitcoin in 2014, I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. I studied business and economics in Chile, and it was so against everything that I had heard, and it made so much sense. So I decided to do something with cryptocurrencies, but everything that I wanted to do, it kind of required the country to have an exchange. So I said, why don't we start with an exchange? My partners and I, and that's when and how it happened. There was nothing. There were some brokers here in Chile, but not doing it as formal as I think it should be. It was never going to develop that way.
Okay, so it needed to be a quote unquote real business, otherwise it wasn't going to get anywhere. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and you need something scalable. You need something transparent. Even though Bitcoin comes from very liberal streams, with which I actually like, you need something that it's as transparent and as regulated as the government and the institutions will allow. So you can have something very irregular, very illegal, but small, and not actually annoy the government. But if you want to do something big, then you need to do it their way. Even though you might not like it, it's just the way it is.
So what's the culture like in South America? How do they view Bitcoin, and how do they use it? Maybe it's different from how it's used in other countries and other parts of the world.
It's funny. From Sur BTC, we have around 30,000 customers, and between 60 and 70% of them use it as investment or speculative asset. 25% uses as a medium of like international transfer, a channel for transferring money, and around 15% use it for paying stuff on the internet. But there's something very sad happening, which annoys us a lot and worries us, and is the great amount of companies that are doing Ponzi schemes using Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies as their advertisement tool, and that's growing a lot, especially in Colombia, Peru also. And it happens that we're a population, we're countries where people are poor, but people are already seeing, because they're connected to the internet, how people are getting rich and how people have become rich in the internet. So they fall very easily for these Ponzi schemes, and that might have bad consequences on regulation. So that's an issue.
Are these schemes coming from existing companies or companies that don't even exist, or is it more ICOs, or where is it coming from?
No, like OneCoin kind of Ponzi schemes. Like, give me one Bitcoin and I'll give you 10% weekly for the rest of your life interest rate. And it's happening a lot. There were 2-3 of these a year ago in Colombia. There must be 15 of them now. 15 wow. that I recognize. There must be I don't know 50. And
that's tough because you want it to be adopted, and it's not easy for this stuff to become adopted. And then you have people that are screwing it up for everyone else. So I understand the frustration.
And it's frustrating because we know how it's gonna sound bad, but it is how but it is bad. We know how incompetent many of our politicians are. So they don't understand cryptocurrencies. institutions or the incumbents are doing lobby, so cryptocurrencies don't have any space here, and then suddenly you see all these people being robbed, being like, yeah, exactly. So it's very easy for them to use that use case, that scenario, and use it as, or generalize it, and it's, well, it's food for the politicians that want to just ban it. But we're fighting. We're trying to let them know that there's a huge difference and provable difference between one and the other.
So what do you think about regulation? I mean, it sounds like, I would guess that you would think it's a very necessary and important thing in order for everything to become widely adopted. Because without it, you get this environment of all kinds of problems.
Yeah. So regulation, that's a big thing. What I think in the short term is that at least Bitcoin exchanges should be regulated. If you have a good operation, then you can see your exchange growing a lot, and then you can see yourself having multi-million-dollar deposits from your customers. And people need to be safe from people that just run away with the money. Right. Even though I'm kind of against regulation, I'm very liberal in that term. Me as a CEO of a Bitcoin exchange and as an entrepreneur in the space, I can see the risk, and I can see and I can smell the amount of problems that we're going to have in the future until this is kind of regulated. And it's not that regulation actually makes you do things better. In our case, I think that regulation would make our operation worse. But at least it's the government saying, if you're a customer of a regulated entity and that entity escapes with your money, I'm going to pay you. I'm going to do something about it. And that's good. I mean, it has bad consequences. It's very tough. I think we should be regulated as an exchange, understanding the huge difference between regulating an exchange and regulating the technology. Technology should never be regulated. And that's actually kind of our message.
Where are your customers? Are they just from the countries you mentioned, or do you take customers from other countries, or you're not allowed to?
We are allowed to. We have customers from pretty much all over the world. Curiously, most of our customers come from Venezuela. We don't have operations in Venezuela, but people in Venezuela are escaping from that country in the thousands. It's very sad, and it's very frustrating to see that. But at the same time, it's super cool to have a company that actually helps them a lot. I would say that, well, of course, 90% of our customers are from Chile, Colombia, or Peru. Actually, not. Actually, like 80%. 20% are people from Venezuela that are either living in Chile, Colombia, or Peru. That's an amazing use case. That's a lovely use case.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So what are any differences you see in the behavior of people from, Venezuela versus Chile versus Peru, on the exchange? Or do you not look at people that closely?
No, we do. Well, there's these very easy to see difference between Chileans and Colombians, for instance. Chilean people, Chile is Chilean people are very banked. I mean, like in Chile, there's this law where it says that if you have a national ID, even though you're not Chilean, you have access to a bank account in a national bank, which operates fairly well. So pretty much in Chile, anybody above 14 years old, if they want to have a bank account, they can. All money transfers between Chilean bank accounts, even different banks, are free, instant, and 24/7, which is very.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, that's amazing. So behavior, the way people in Chile.
It's better than the U.S.
Yeah, it is. It's better than most places in the world. I mean, you can transfer, I don't know, 25 cents from one bank to another in a Christmas Eve and that transfer is free and instant, and that's super cool.
Great.
So yeah, so our customers are very much used to working with instant transfers and stuff like that. On the other side, Colombia is the extreme. It's the opposite. In Colombia, all transfers take up to 72 hours. I mean, the bank has up to 72 hours to process your transfer. All transfers cost at least $2, which means that if you're sending $1, then you have to pay $2. And
right.
the bank websites, they're just awful. Sam, this is super funny. It's frustrating for us, but it's funny. Some bank websites close at night. I mean, you try to log into your account at, I don't know, 3 in the morning to see your balance. I mean, not even to do anything, just to see your balance. And it says we open at 8 in the morning. And
wow.
So there are no bank transfers in Colombia. So behavior, and we only allow bank transfers because banks in Chile and Colombia at least are very sensitive to money laundering. Very sensitive. I can only speak for the country where we operate. I'm not saying that they're more sensitive than in the US. Probably not, or maybe yes, but at least they're extremely sensitive. So we only allow transfers, bank transfers. We don't accept cash. So that makes a huge difference between Chilean customers and Colombian customers.
Right. Okay. Any other interesting differences in other types of customers you have?
No, I would say that in Colombia, what happens, I mean, the potential of cryptocurrencies in Colombia are much greater than in Chile because of the same reason. Chile is pretty banked. So with 24/7 and instant bank transfers, people have their problems pretty solved. In Colombia, the remittance market, it's the international remittance market, it's smaller than the in-border remittance market. I mean, the remittance industry makes more money from people transferring from one place of Colombia to another than what they make from people sending money out of Colombia or into Colombia, which is crazy, which makes us think that cryptocurrencies have a huge space for doing good in Colombia,
right?
Solving true issues. In Colombia, you can end up paying up to $10-15 if you want to deposit cash in somebody else's account. Just for depositing cash, you might be charged $10. Crazy. I mean, we're a poor country.
All right. So what's on your roadmap for the next 6 months or year? What's new coming to Sur BTC? We are very, very concerned with liquidity. It's because we are poor countries and we're actually very regulated as financial industries. It's not easy for us to have liquid markets. We have a lot of restrictions. So that's the big thing. If we want to be infrastructure and we want to help our countries move from this prehistoric financial industry, we need to solve that. So I would say that our main objective for the next 12 months is probably opening one more country, which it's almost done, and then allowing our markets to. We're starting to do a lot of that, making sure that if they regulate something around cryptocurrencies, they don't fuck it up as they have done so many times in the past. All right. One last question. Is South America a different environment than Central America? Mexico and the countries there, is that kind of a different world from South America, or are they all, because they're, Hispanohablantes, are they all kind of coordinated and together?
No, I would say I'm not sure. We only operate in South American countries, and even though I've been in Central America several times, I would say their remittance markets are much larger in relative terms to their GDP.
All right, Guillermo. Well, very good. So how can people find out more about Sur BTC? Maybe open up an account and start trading with you guys. What's the best way to do it?
Exactly. There are huge opportunities in arbitrage opportunities. So if you want to make money doing market making, wow, there are a lot of people starting to do it, and the opportunities are huge. So yeah, go to www.surbtc.com and just start trading and enjoying this awesome world.
Okay, well, very good, Guillermo. Thank you for coming on the podcast. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Take care.
The Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Blockchain Super Conference is coming to Dallas, Texas, February 16, 17, and 18 in 2018. If you know of a better way to get the latest insider knowledge about crypto, to hear directly from the top minds in this field, to interact personally with 800 fellow crypto lovers, hodlers, investors, miners, traders, developers, and founders, then I'd like to hear about it. If you don't, then you don't want to miss out. Register today for the Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Blockchain Super Conference. Go to bitcoinsuperconference.com and register today as a super early bird to get the lowest rates on tickets and hotel rooms. That's bitcoinsuperconference.com. You have been listening to Almost Here, Around the Corner Future Technology podcast with Richard Jacobs. Subscribe to this podcast, post a review to discover more future technologies that are poised to transform our lives for better or worse, such as Bitcoin, artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.